Hello and welcome back to another tier list today, and today we're doing something a little bit different than what we've been doing for the past few months. The past few months we've been looking at how a character fits in with all the other characters synergistically, but I got a suggestion a few weeks ago to cover what are the best Echo duplicates. What duplicate really stands out as Echo, and really what should you be looking for when you pick Echo, and what should you be really duplicating here. I put some thought into it, and while I'm not 100% sure on everything as of right now, I do have a pretty good idea of where the characters are kind of going to stand on this list. So let's get right into it and try to get this in less than 20 minutes. And that means we're starting off with Ana, which honestly, she's not that bad. I really want to put her kind of in the middle, like top B tier, because there are times where like you can pick Ana in the sky as Echo, hit a sick anti-nade, all 6, get your nano boost, nano your friendly Winston or something, and really find a lot of value that way. I think it's very undervalued and something that's very, very strong that a lot of people don't exactly talk about. Now, if I can put that in S or A, I will later. It's pretty close, but there are some other characters that I want to cover first to really make sure that I nail this 100%. Ashe is kind of on that as well, whereas if you can go in the air and find a huge dynamite, that can sway a team fight, and also Bob as well is fantastic to just have on the field. I don't think it's as strong as some of these other characters that we're going to mention here pretty shortly, but I think it's still very, very strong, and definitely should not be. It's not something that you don't want to do. It's something that's like, well, if you can't find anyone else, you can still do an Ashe, and it's fine. So that brings us to Baptiste here. It really depends on the comp. The thing is with Echo is that she's not really used in in rush compositions, brawl compositions. She's typically used in spam and dive, more so in the dive spectrum right now. So what I'm thinking here is, if you do actually take a BAP, how good is it? Because, I mean, if it was Brawl v Brawl, I would say honestly S tier. You can find an immortality field around the corner and you pretty much win your team the fight. The thing is, I just think there's because of the comps that you're on, it's not as strong as it sounds. The immortality field still if you have a BAP that's 2 immortality fields in one fight, that's absolutely nuts. But what you also have to realize is that you're losing out on a lot of damage, whereas with the nano boost, you can pretty much just win a fight if you can nano a monkey. If you window, sure, it's great, but the team could just kite. So I think I'm gonna put it above the Ashe. He's kind of in the same domain as the Ana here. The ultimate's decent, but I don't know if I could warrant. I haven't seen Echo BAP be played a lot because there's just so many better options that are going to be in S and A tier. And let's move on to the Bastion here, which I'm honestly going to put D tier. The only thing is, like, the thing with Echo's copy is that you can get the ultimate extremely fast, and Bastion's ultimate just isn't really that useful in this situation. And the way that Echo's compositions in which she works well with, the way that they work, typically when you duplicate, you want to be engaging. Bastion wants to wait for them to engage him. So any character that they can kind of kite away from can't be put higher than B tier. And something needs to be D tier, even though duplicate is very strong. But why not have it be Bastion? Again, Brigitte, it's kind of one of those middle pack things. If you need a Brigitte, you can pull it out if your Brigitte dies, but other than that, I wouldn't say it's very strong because it's very kiteable. And in order to get Inspire, it's going to take too much of the ultimate to get it off. Now, that being said, if it's a brawl and you're on span for whatever reason and can't just jump away and you need to run Brig, I mean, maybe you could warrant it. But compared to all these other ones, I think the other ones are a little bit better than the Brig. Brig is still decent. I won't lie to you there, but I just don't think it's quite B tier. And we might move it up, I'm not sure. Moving up with our first S tier, I think Echo Doom is probably one of the best dupes in the game, because Doomfist already gets his ult really fast. Put that as Echo on top of it, it's pretty absurd how good this is, because you can engage extremely fast, which is what you want to do as Doom. But the thing is that if you do engage really hard as Doom, you don't have a way out. With Echo, you get your ult so fast that you're always going to have a way out, when you engage. And put on top of that the buff that Doom got, that while he's in the air, he gets his cooldowns back twice as fast. Add that to Echo, you're just not going to die. You pretty much just win the fight. And like, there's a clear differentiation between an S tier and a B tier that I want you guys to see. Alright, so Diva, again, one of those characters. You can be as aggressive as you want as Diva, and that's kind of what she wants to do. I might put her A tier, not sure yet. She gets her out very fast with the Echo, and that means that she pretty much lives forever as Echo. And even if you forced out the Echo early to try to get the ultimate out, the chances are that she has self-destruct. So again, it's like you're having a character on your team that doesn't die and can be as aggressive as possible. That is scary. That is incredibly scary. And I don't think I really need to put too much more effort into explaining that one to you guys. Here, let's go full screen. I didn't even go full screen this whole time. But yeah, let's move on here. Genji, because there's going to be so many characters in S tier, I think I'm going to put Genji A tier. Getting Blade as fast as you do on Genji is actually kind of crazy when you're with Echo. The problem is if you don't have a nano lined up for it, I don't think it's as good as some of these other nanos that will be on your team, because at that point, if the enemy's running Genji, then they probably have like a Ball or a Winston or a Diva that are just frankly better to be copying in that situation, but Genji is still like a good pick. Hanzo, I'm going to put with Brig. I don't think it's awful. I think it's very decent. You can get dragons pretty quick. The problem is that he doesn't have any forward momentum. He has some movement, but it's more so to save himself than to get himself in, because he's a sniper. The characters like that aren't as good for Echo copy, because if you mess up the copy at the start, you don't get anything. That being said, if you're on a flank and your team's going to walk in from one side, and you plan on duplicating from behind in like a high ground, let's say like Anubis first point, you're defending, and they're in that mega room, and you climb up the wall, find a Hanzo, I can maybe see it working. But even then, it's like there's just better opportunities. Like if they're on Rhine, just duplicate the Rhine and start swinging like crazy, you know? I mean, it can still work, it's just not optimal. Junkrat's kind of on the same plane as all of these characters as well. It's very hard to land Junkrat mines depending on the comp that they're running. And I just don't think it's quite great. I mean, you could do work with it. The thing is that most people aren't that great with junk and that precise with junk, so it's just not going to work. But if you put Aquamarine on Echo and he's like, oh, I'm going to dupe that junk, I mean, you know, that kind of speaks for itself. Lucio is one of the worst ones as well, in my opinion, because we're also going to cover Zen along with this, which I think is honestly an A tier. The thing with Lucio is that it's a lot harder to build the support ult that he gets, I feel, with Echo. And because of the comps that you're playing Echo with, the spam or the dive, you don't really need that speed. Because typically with the dive that you're going to play with an Echo, you're playing a Ball and a Diva who don't really need the speed boost. And you're not really running a Moira either, who needs the speed boost so that she doesn't use Fade. You're typically running a Zen Brig. So because of that, I think that Lucio isn't as great because you're not getting utility from everything. Meanwhile, as Zen, you're not losing damage. You're actually, you could be getting more damage because of the Discord Orb as a team. You're getting actually more out of it. Plus, you're getting Transcendence, which is a game-changing ultimate. I think that Zen's honestly a sleeper pick. The supports are honestly a sleeper pick when duping as Echo. I think Zen's honestly the best of the supports just because you can get Transcendence and you can also do damage. You're not missing out on damage while duplicating, because that's a serious concern when you duplicate as Echo. Like, how much damage am I losing for the value I'm actually going to be getting out of this ultimate? And we're going to place Echo on this list when we get to the end. But Kree. I think Kree is kind of low B tier. Because sure, people can run away, but Kree is just so strong as he is, as a frontline like pusher as well. If the team wants to walk in, then I think it's a little bit more viable than the Dragons. And stun is just really, really strong. Getting high noon, zoning, very, very strong as well. I don't think it's quite higher than a low B tier. I think we've pretty much pinned it down to a good location, and we're around the 10-minute mark, a few seconds away from that. So if you have been watching this far, I really, really appreciate it, and please let me know if this content has been helping you out in any way, shape, or form. And let's keep moving on here with Mei, which I've got to put it S tier, right? I mean, you get the ultimate so fast, and it's an ultimate that sways the game entirely. She also wants to walk in. She's not afraid to walk in with her team if you do end up actually picking up the Mei. I might put it A tier just because it's not as fast, but I think the Mei ult is just way too strong, and you're not losing out on too much damage. You're also getting a wall, which there's a lot that you can get out of that. Worst in the game, I don't. Here's the thing: I don't know why you'd ever in the right mind duplicate a Mercy. Maybe you get a res. I don't see the point of that, because you're just going to get focused down anyways. The ultimate that you're getting out of it too is not, even though you could damage boost the whole team after some time, you're probably not going to get it fast enough to get the full value out of it. Plus, I think you would honestly just get more out of just duplicating, or just not duplicating at all, and just doing it all yourself. It's kind of the same idea as Moira. I think it's a little bit better than the Lucio, just because Cole can be very, very strong, especially if you lose your main healer, it's worth it. Besides that, I don't think it's great. I think we're going to see as we close out here, there are a lot of much, much stronger picks that shouldn't be slept on. So, Orisa, I think I'm going to put her low A tier, maybe high B tier. I think Bongo's really strong, and it's nice to have that frontline pressure if you lose it. But besides that, I'm going to put a B tier, because usually the characters that you're playing Echo with aren't going to synergize great with an Orisa pick. That's assuming you're running it in dive or spam. I mean, sure, spam could use an Orisa, but do you need 2 Orisas? I mean, I guess it would be fine, because then you can brawl it out, but that's very, very dependent on what's going on, and I think because it's so dependent on what's going on, B tier is a pretty good spot to put this, and I think that's pretty reasonable. So let's move on to Pharah here. So, my thing is, I don't see why you'd really dupe a Pharah if you're already playing Echo, unless you're trying to run a barrage into, a grav or something, which is reasonable. I think having barrage that much and that fast is nice. Because the thing is, with the whole idea with barrage is that if you use barrage, you're going to die, but how much are you going to get out of that barrage? So what I'm thinking here is, once you do get that barrage, you can kind of, for lack of a better term, you can kind of suicide in with a barrage, get 2 picks, and if you don't kill the tanks that are killing you afterwards, you have Echo's mines and maneuverability to get out afterwards. That's why I'm going to put Pharah B tier. Besides that, I don't think it's very great compared to the Echo. I mean, why wouldn't you just run Pharah anyways, to begin with? If you want to dupe a Pharah, I just think there's better options, like we've been saying before. Reaper, I'm going to have to put S tier. I mean, I think it's low S tier for sure, but the thing is with Reaper is that you have no fear. You can walk in, you can get Death Blossom. You're getting your ult so much faster that healing isn't really an issue, because you're going to lifesteal yourself anyways, unless they have a Diva. But at that point, you just need to play a little smarter with your team. I think it's very good for what you might be running against. You might be running against a Brawl as Echo, that's typical. Maybe you're running against an enemy dive composition and you want to melt the Winston, because you're duping the Reaper. They might be running Reaper Sombra. That might be a decent opportunity. Besides that, I can't really say too much more about that, but I think definitely deserves his S tier spot. Reinhardt, I'm going to have to put below the Diva, above the Mei. Here's the thing. Duping Reinhardt is all contingent upon what the enemy is running. Hold up, that's so stupid though. Because if they're running a Rein, they're going to be running a Brawl, in which if you have an Echo Rein, you just win. I don't know why I thought that. Well, if they're not running a Rein, then Rein's not good to dupe. Well, obviously, because you can't even dupe a Rein, you know? But yeah, that's why I was thinking, yeah, Rein's the best out of all of them. Because having an Echo Rein against a normal Rein, you're going to get your ultimate so much faster, therefore you can pressure the enemy Reinhardt just by swinging, because even if you die, you're just going to create space. Echo Rein is an absolute menace, it's extremely scary, and whenever you have the opportunity to do it, considering that they are running a rush composition, and they're not just running Rein Ball, Genji Tracer, Rein will be the best, because you can just pretty much decimate the front line by yourself and have 3 shatters by the end of your duplication. Obviously, there are some situations where things change, where you might want to duplicate some of these other ones, but that's not all the time. Roadhog, I'm going to put above the Orisa just because it makes a little bit more sense. You can kind of do whatever you want and not have to care. But besides that, I don't think it's fantastic. I think it's very mid. I mean, hence the reason why it's in B tier. It's not the best, it's not bad, it's kind of in the middle. I think there are better tanks to take, like the Rein, like the Diva, like some of the other ones that we're going to get to here. And that's about all I can say for that. Now, Sigma, okay, it's got to be top A tier. I don't think it's quite S tier. You have an ultimate that's like Graviton Surge, and you're not missing out on damage or utility. And the reason why I'm actually going to put Zarya top C tier, I think, or maybe bottom B tier, and I'm going to do both of these together, is that the thing is with Zarya is that you have no charge when you initially get into your duplication. So I don't know if you've ever tried to play Echo and dupe a Zarya. It's very hard to charge that Graviton in time with your team. The thing is that they can react to understand that you were going to grab within this period, so it's already an easy enough grab to eat. And 2, it's extremely hard to charge that grab on 0 charge. Now, if you look at Sigma, you have a shield, you have a rock, you have great damage, you can eat for your team. There's so much more utility that goes into Sigma that's just built fundamentally into his kit immediately upon the duplication. Meanwhile, with Zarya, I mean, you're going to be duplicating, well, you won't be duplicating into a Diva, but you're going to be duplicating into a rush composition that can easily just speed away, that can shield all of your damage. And if you've already broken the Rein shield by the time that you do dupe as Echo, you've already won the fight, that you don't really need to be duplicating Zarya. That being said, there are some situations where maybe you can bubble a teammate that gets hooked, and then if they're running like Hogzar, and maybe that could work out fine. The thing is that it's very hit or miss, and it tends to miss a lot more than it hits. Soldier, I think, is a good option. I think it's right up there with the Genji. I think flanking with Soldier and getting Visor very quick could be very nice to sway a fight. I don't think you're losing a whole lot out of duping the Soldier. I don't think you're gaining a lot either. That's why I'm kind of putting it top A tier. You're not necessarily gaining any intrinsic like cooldowns that you would have had before, but it's still a good duplicate to flank around and maybe kill a Pharah, and get Visor is very, very nice to take out some enemies that you might be struggling with. I think Soldier's a lot better the lower you are to duplicate, but the higher you are, I think the characters in S tier are always going to be better. So Sombra, I think, is one of those Joker picks as well, that it's kind of decent, but it's in the hands of the beholder. I don't even know if that's the right. It's the eyes of the beholder. I don't even know if I said that. I don't know. It's something like that. You guys understand. The thing with Sombra is that you can charge EMP. The thing is that they know the EMP is coming, and they're all going to focus you. So it's kind of iffy, and that's why I put it below Genji, above Zen, because I think it gets a little bit more value than the Zen Transcendence. It's just very hard to pull off. Which actually, we might interchange this just because it's harder to pull off than the Zen, that it might be just a little bit more inconsistent. I think Sombra is fitting into this position quite well. Symmetra I'm going to put in C tier. I just don't think it's good. I just think there's so many better options. It can work. It's not quite D tier. I just personally don't think it's that great. It's kind of the same thing with Torb. You're not getting a whole lot out of it that you're not already getting with something else. Like with the Echo, you're getting so much more with the Echo that there's really no point. Sure, you can get Molten Core, but at that point, you're running a dive composition or span usually. Like you don't necessarily need that Molten Core to really get anything done. I just think there are better opportunities. And if they are running a Torb, you probably don't want to be running an Echo. You probably want to be running, like, I don't know, Soldier Tracer. Tracer Sombra, just a completely different comp, because the Torb makes Echo's life miserable. Tracer I'm gonna have to put up there. I mean, you guys have seen the Echo Tracers. You can get like 7 pulse bombs, I'm pretty sure, by the time you're done with the duplicate. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I don't think I need to really elaborate on that. I'm pretty sure it speaks for itself. Widow, I'm gonna be honest here, Widow might be worse than Mercy. Like, actually no. I'll put Widow above Mercy, because in theory, if you are duplicating Widow, you're against a Widow, And maybe you can take that duel with aggression. Maybe you can find some weird Kefri angle and find a pick. That's about all I could say with duplicating a Widow. Your ultimate, you're not really getting anything, because by the time you get the ultimate, that's supposed to be a 15-second long ultimate, you're probably only going to get like 3 to 4 seconds out of it, and that's just not enough to make a play off of it. And let's finish off the last 3 characters here. Winston, I'm going to have to put up there. Honestly, I might make it better than Rein. No, I think Rein's better against what they have. Because if it's on Winston that you're against the dive composition, the thing with Winston is like, that character is not dying. He can be as aggressive on the backline as he wants to, and the Echo's not going to be dying because you're going to get Primal extremely fast. If you don't get Primal, you messed up big time as Echo. And having a tank with 1,000 health on your backline that just won't die, that's scary. That's scary. And let's finish off the characters that aren't Echo with Wrecking Ball. I think I'm going to put Wrecking Ball around where the Sig is, if not at the bottom, actually. That's probably, I think A tier is pretty good for an Echo here. The thing is like, you get so much more out of something else that the ball would be playing with, like a Tracer, like a Diva, like a Sombra, that I don't think the ball is really useful. That being said, it could be decent. I just think there are better options, and it's not bad by any means. And this is where it leaves us off here. When are you just better off to play Echo? And I'm going to play Echo right smack dab in the middle, because this is what I thought about. Where am I going to put Echo? And let's make sure that we split it in between. I think Echo is kind of a tie between all of these 3 characters. And there are times where Echo can move all across B tier, but I think Echo, just basic Echo, is mid B tier. Right in the smack dab middle. Because the thing with Echo is that you have so much with you. You have your right-click mines, you have your fly, you have your beam. There's so much that you can do with Echo that sometimes duplicating just is counterintuitive. And what did I say? Blading? Duplicating? I think that's what I said. I don't know. Duplicating sometimes is counterintuitive. And like what I want to say here is generally the characters up here you're going to get more value with just because their ultimates are that strong and like their intrinsic value to get set ultimates are really good. Meanwhile, below this, these characters, they don't really fit well with being timed to do something. So we've exceeded our mark. We're at 22 minutes now. If you guys did enjoy this video, please let me know. If you want to see any other types of weird tier lists, I'd be more than happy to do so. If you want to see something different than Tier List Tuesday, just let me know. A lot of exciting stuff coming soon. Make sure you're looking out for the video coming out this Thursday. And yeah, but until next time, I've got a peace out and Paz out. I'll see you in the next one.